Hello, welcome to the More Than Muscle podcast. How are you all doing, guys? You all alright? Yeah, buzzing. We got Diren Kartal, the big man, in the studio with us.
No,
how's it going, mate?
I'm not big, man.
Gas yourself. You're not big. Do you even gym, mate? That's the question.
I don't know, bro. I should ask you the same question.
I like where this podcast is going.
I've been called skinny by Diren twice in the last 20 minutes, so I feel like I've got to do some cardio.
He's taller.
I said slender.
Okay.
He's way taller.
Slender.
Really?
Yeah.
That just reminds me of when I hear the word slender, I just think of Slender Tone, innit?
I went to prom and I got asked if I was Slender Man.
When was that,
Just
last week?
wearing a
Last week?
suit. Oh, come on.
What was it like going to prom on your own?
Oh, mate. It was, and I wasn't on my own. Okay, my mum went with me. All right, moral support in that. Dude, just so some people can get to know you, I've got a couple rapid fire questions, and we're all going to immediately judge you based on your answers.
Okay, sweet.
Really nice and simple, one word answers, which is squat, bench, or deadlift.
Squat.
Nice. Sex, love, or money?
Whoa,
It's a long pause. That's a long pause.
Now, money, put that away. I don't. No, not money.
No.
Sex and love can be.
Yeah, you can only have one. You can have platonic love. You can love your nan.
Platonic. What's
Oh,
that
love.
like?
Probably love.
Tectonic.
No, sex, man.
Fist bump.
Andy, you're in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, long
And
term. And what, bro?
Yeah, and he deserves a medal for that.
Yeah,
Well
mate.
done, bro.
Takes his left hand to bed every night. Come on, man.
Constraints-based coaching and that.
Big arms or big legs?
Big legs.
All day. We got Eddie Hall or Thor. I think that's next week, isn't it?
Thor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you've seen too much Game of Thrones.
No,
Back in that.
Eddie Hall. I've got nothing against Eddie Hall, but I see him selling some stuff at one point, and I was just like, "Come on, man!"
When he's endorsing McDonald's and My Protein and that, I'm just kind of like, come
See how lean he is now?
Something.
It's mad.
mad.
Yeah.
He shreds, isn't it?
Bro, the amount of calories them guys are on.
It's mad,
It's
it's
ridiculous.
crazy.
He went on this like Good Morning Britain or something, and he was talking about his diet, and they were saying, and he just told everyone, he's like, "This is not a healthy way to live. Like you will die if you eat this diet."
You know what's
Yeah,
mad?
but people will watch that and be like, "Oh, can I eat that?"
You know what's
I'm
mad
still
though?
gonna do it.
Me and Nat were watching one of his series, and he was doing like a man versus food. He
He
never
never finished anything.
He couldn't
Really?
finish. He's like,
Yeah.
it was actually
That's
hard
mad.
for him, which I was surprised about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
me too.
would think that I could definitely eat more than
I just
him.
think, whenever I think of guys like that, I just think what the shit looks like.
Oh.
Boy.
Oh,
It's like, you know, like when you have a big dog, that's a lot of shit.
But
But
how does he even imagine like stopping at a petrol station? How does he even get in the cubicle? Like,
yeah,
custom
Wouldn't
toilets,
be
mate.
comfortable.
Honestly,
it wouldn't be
imagine the
comfortable.
toilet.
wedge through.
Wow.
this has got dirty real quick. Last one for us, Darren. Dream training partner, dead or alive?
Dream training partner. Oh, that's a good question. You know, you sent a brief, innit?
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't read this. As mine.
Andy never reads
We
mine.
don't.
In fairness.
I've been quite slack actually this season.
Come on
Max
now.
writes them.
Dead or alive.
I write so I can steer things a little bit. It's more for me, to be honest with you. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Dead or alive. I'd love to train with. I'd love to see how fit Ronaldo is, bruv.
Yeah.
I'd just love to like
I
compare.
just knew you was going to say that.
Like I'd love to know like, oh, was I fit enough to make it?
Cramp a minute, and then you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I'd love to see how fit he was. Like,
I mean, he's not weighing that much. Like, I reckon you could push more than him.
How much does
Some-
Ronaldo
yeah, I
weigh?
could
I don't
definitely
even
push
know.
more than
That's
that.
what I mean, exactly.
80 something for sure.
Because of his
He's
height.
slender.
It's his height.
That's fine. I'll take being a Ronaldo body type any day.
You know
of the
what's
week.
mad though? If you look at him from the front or the back, you'd think he's massive because he's so aesthetic.
He's
But
weird.
then when you see him side on,
Slim
Invisible,
Shady.
innit?
yeah,
Yeah.
proper.
That's mad. Let's just get into the main discussion. I don't know why I put this first, but just get deep real quick.
Okay.
Like, you know, taking an MJ quote. You know, you miss all the shots you don't take. I failed and tried over and over again.
Yeah.
What sort of like things have you had in your life, Darren, that you think maybe this didn't work out? Andy mentioned football to me, obviously at a
Yeah.
stage. Those failures, how
Didn't
they
work
sort of
out.
like shaped you.
Yeah.
And steered you to where you are now.
He didn't
Like
work out.
failures.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like you know, things that don't work out, but you know, sometimes it's actually the stars aligning that those things don't work out.
To be fair, there's loads. Like there's,
Yeah, exactly.
Every day is kind of a bit of a chaos. Every day there's some level of failure. But I think the main thing, like doing what I'm doing today, was definitely football, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you would have done the same. You literally put everything into it, thinking,
Still Lambro.
yeah,
Man's got a game tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
I mean,
games tomorrow.
Chelsea might sign both of you, I reckon.
yeah, the way they're going. But yeah, trying to be a pro athlete and forgetting all the other qualities that I did have. I still do. I completely forgot about all of that, and I was like, I want to be an athlete, and that's all I want to be. And the main focus I put into that, and the discipline and everything that I gained from that, although I failed, it helped me put that sort of mentality into what I do now. Because I failed so many times, say with football and a few other things, it made me not give a shit about failing. So it's almost nice when you fail, because it's all right now. You become numb to that emotion, and then when you become numb, you always just like take risks, and that's where like the fun is, I think.
If you're afraid of it, then you're always going to fail, I think. Absolutely.
Most people that don't achieve anything are afraid of that. So
it's mad, because we were talking about this kind of question, and like last week we were discussing how personal trainers get into the industry, and it was always like, because they've achieved this, or they've done this show, or they've done this event. And I was like, I got into the industry because I just failed everything. Like everything I tried to achieve, I failed it, but then that got me to where I am. Yeah. And that's what I was like, I reckon that you got quite a big story on that as well, because it's like, it's not a failure, but it's that experience.
But go on, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, people get into it just because I think they enjoy it themselves, and they perceive everyone that they're going to be training enjoys it as much as they do, because they're in that luxury of a position to, not have, a mental illness or some kind of body dysmorphia, or be like in really bad shape or hurt or something. So I think that's an unhealthy way to get into it, versus if you fail at everything, then this is where you succeed. Then that's a telling sign that this is where you belong.
But before, like, being a PT wasn't cool. As in, being PT was cool, but it wasn't cool like it is now. The idea of being a personal trainer, for most people, and why they get into it, is all for the wrong reasons, I think, which is why most of them actually fell at it. Whereas before, we kind of got into it quite naturally. Like, I got into it, I was playing football, I was going to Virgin Active to just train, and I saw Andy and Stephen, and I was like, fuck, I could do this. I could still play football and do this and do what they're doing. Because I actually loved it. I loved everything about the body. I was like, this is sick. Imagine like, you transform your body from this to this. Like, this is fucking amazing. And then you see the impact it makes on people. So it kind of accidentally sort of like fell in love with it. But most people now are getting into the industry for all the wrong reasons. Straight up, just online PT, influencer, all of that shit. That's what's happening right now. And that's why I don't think there's any...
You know what I love about coaches, that we were talking about this yesterday, it's like, like coaches that send programs, and you can tell that they don't even know how to use Excel, or like they haven't even put colours into their program, and like they don't care about any of that shit. All they care about is the actual coaching. And then these days it's like, they got an app. They got this thing going on their website. They got fucking colours on every Excel sheet. Their logo, all the things that don't really matter.
That don't actually matter.
Don't matter.
But it's what people put value into. I mean, that's another question. I think it's nothing I've had written down, but I was just thinking. I think there's the perception that PTs are dumb a lot of the time. It's just like, you failed, you did PE, you were good at PE. But then I think you tread the line really well, Diren, when it comes to making it like approachable to a lot of people, but then not so overwhelming. But how do you tread that line between, I've got to show that I'm intelligent and I know what I'm talking about, and also the fact that I'm not trying to sound like up myself and like I'm smarter than you?
One thing that I do is I don't really give a fuck. I'm not trying to prove to people like, I'm really intelligent. I don't think I'm that intelligent. I think I'm disciplined, and I think I know all the basic stuff. I think I know all the core stuff that can probably help people change their training, their life, anything, any of all the core values that I have that I can teach someone. I think if they put it to anything, I think they'll be successful with it, because I think every level of success has like similar core values, right? But the people that do think that about personal trainers, you can't really blame them, because most of them are fucking stupid.
Absolutely.
It's social intelligence, isn't it? Like, it's just understanding what's in front of you, and how can you bend yourself a little bit to make them understand where they're coming from, where you're coming from, rather than just being so bookworm that they're like, I don't even know what you just said.
I think with anything though, it just takes time, and I think a personal trainer's typical time span of career is like 2 years, I think I read. So you kind of have to stick with it as much as you can, like you're saying, and fail. And
90% I think drop off in the first
6
year.
months. There's statistics, 6 months.
There you go.
It's
and
mad.
It's crazy, because like whenever you start a business, they say have 6 months of saving to start, and that number correlates. It's like because most people don't actually start a business when they start
Maybe
PT. They're just like, I'm here.
Yeah, I think that's what
roll.
it is. Like, it sounds really good. You can charge quite a lot per hour. You can go home, you can have a nap in the day if you want, and then that's it. And then I think after 6 months they think.
But also, I think it's a defense mechanism to make yourself sound really smart, because that's like a shield to make people believe in what you're saying. But actually, you're pushing people. It's more like a radiation. You're pushing people away, because as sooner you realise that, the more customers you'll relate to. I think
that is all that is, bro. That is all that trying to wow someone with a word.
We used to say, innit, trying to swing your dick around. That's what everyone's doing.
That is what definitely everyone's doing. And then it's funny because then when I've had personal trainers like kind of try and put me on the spot with a big word, I said, what the fuck does that mean, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, so you mean just like progressive overload?
Yeah.
So
that's 2 words, bro.
Is that you know what I mean? So is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Cool. So why are you trying to sound so smart?
Yeah.
Are you trying to make me look stupid?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's what they're doing.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
People trying to put each other down with it. I mean, you look at, like, I've had people come to me and start training with me, and they've said, oh, my old trainer told me this. And I could have been in the position to say, that's dumb. Why the hell are you doing that? And there's no point in doing that. I'm gonna just say let's just try it like this. Let's use my method, because I think we're in an industry where you feel like you need to shit on people to prove that you're better.
I'll be honest. I do sometimes say that.
Yeah.
Only because that person needs to hear that confidence from you to believe you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the industry is like that because it's full of egos, full of big egos.
It's full of egos, and it's saturated.
It depends.
as well.
Insecurities.
I think it comes down to social intelligence again. It's like knowing what's in front of you, because some people that will work, and then some people, they'll think you're a dick, and then they're like, I ain't listening to you either. They put up a shield, and it's like, I think if people lived life more, they might be better at coaching. That's the thing that you don't want to stunt your growth with by saying you're expert. If you put yourself on a pedestal, which everyone does on socials, it's like, I'm an expert, I'm the best at this. Once you put yourself on that pedestal, you actually stunt your growth as a coach, because you're no longer living life anymore, because everything's a defense mechanism of you not showing your insecurities. You're not open for progression.
Like Jamie, clip that for the clip. Boom, there you go. Joe Rogan's got Jamie in it there. He's like, they clip that.
we got Tom, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Abby!
But like, if you don't live, then how are you, like when you get life coaches, for example, and I remember this happening when I was
12, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I remember,
don't disrespect my side hustle, Andy.
When I was in Australia, and it happened in Oxford Circus as well, like people like putting life coach in their bio. I'm like, bruv, you don't even pay rent. You're in your 20s. You think your 40-year-old client that works for Barclays that's making what, 150k a year needs your fucking advice? Do you know what I mean? And it's mad because the ego or the ego or whatever they've created themselves to be actually thinks that they can change that person's life when they haven't lived.
It's a leadership gap as well. It's like I feel like as I get older, I get closer to my demographic, because my life, my experience level is getting closer to their relatability. So that leadership gap narrows. They believe everything you say. So,
I'm excited to hit 30 next week.
Is that when it is?
But it's on Monday, I'm going to be 30 on Monday. And I'm excited because then I'm going to start getting deep. And when someone says something, I'll be like, yeah, I've lived for 30 fucking years. And that's why I can give that advice. No. But like, I feel like in your 20s, when you say some things, it's fitness-wise cool. But then if you start dropping like... bars about life and all that stuff, people are like, you're in your 20s, man, you haven't really lived. But whereas when you hit 30 and you've experienced a lot of things, I think people
it's weird like listening to us to talk about this, because you know, obviously you're under 30, but we were once at that age. And I remember I thought everyone in their 30s were like, what did I used to call them, the 30 crew, everyone who's lost in life,
the 30
never made in life. They're still
I remember.
But we're that age now, but we're now speaking about it from experience. It's weird to hear like different age groups, different levels. Everyone could be coached. I just think it's the whole mindset of like growth. You shouldn't stunt yourself by saying you're expert, because you never will be.
Yeah, you either have a growth mindset or what's the other?
Shit mindset.
Mindset. So it's either that or the other. And if you're not open to any of that,
you're dead.
You're dead. There's well, if you're not learning, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Moaning.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
Exactly.
Usually they're moaning, isn't it?
Moaning, hating.
Usually.
Or putting people down.
Yeah.
That usually happens.
Try and boost themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you talking about like hating and stuff like that. Like with online stuff, Diren. How do you potentially deal with people that come after you about, you know, especially with everyone's an expert these days. People coming after you saying, oh, actually, the form things you're saying that's wrong. And my second and the follow up, just does that translate to real life? Like, have people got the stones to come up and say that to you in person, or are they just a bunch of keyboard warriors?
Yeah,
I know you wish you did. That's what he's glowing now. He's glowing.
I wish it. No, because I don't think I'll talk about anything that I don't know.
Yeah.
Or I'm not comfortable talking about. And even if I was, mad. Well, you should blame yourself for that. I don't think I'll talk about stuff I don't know. And even if I was talking about more like complex topics that sometimes need bigger words, sometimes maybe I can't be as articulate as I want to be, which can sometimes create some barriers or misunderstanding from an audience that gives them the opportunity to shoot at me to try and take me down, because people are waiting for that.
Yeah, people
are
waiting for anyone to do that. Yeah, exactly. So it's a David and Goliath situation that they want to take a shot.
Yes, now I got him. Fuck him. Bang, 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 bang. But and if they say anything, before I used to bite back hard because it was entertaining, and it still is entertaining, but I try not to waste my energy on. It depends on who it is, what they say, and if I need to say something about it. But when it comes to face, like born in Tottenham, school in East London, college in Hackney, Turkish Kurdish parents, you've got confrontation 24/7. So for me, that's not a problem. So if someone came up to me, if I've got a problem with someone, I'll go and tell it. I'll go and tell them. Not a problem at all. Whereas most people online will never, ever, ever do that to your face, because everyone face to face is nice to each other.
Yeah.
Everyone face, especially in the fitness industry.
I find, you know, like when you were talking about articulating your stuff, it's like when you're talking to people that speak the same language as you. I don't mean language, I mean like the way you speak. It's so easy to articulate what you're getting at. But when you feel like someone's maybe above you or posher than you or speaking in a different way, it almost slows you down, because you're trying to think of a different way when you're best just saying it the way you know. And
exactly. But sometimes I don't get the respect from those people because of the way I speak, and I know that for a fact, because I remember I did a B2B seminar in Scotland, and when I came off stage, one guy came up to me and he apologized to me, and I was like, oh, Diren, I just want to say sorry. I was like, why? He goes, man, I totally misjudged you from like the way you speak, the way you are online. I didn't know, like the way you spoke today, I didn't know you had any of that.
It's crazy, isn't it?
First thing I thought inside of me was like, fuck you, blood. I want to slap you in your face. That's what I want to do. Because it was like frustrating. I'm like, you judgmental prick, man.
Yeah, it's hard because they already have a perception of what you are, so you almost have to like work harder.
Yeah, but so
when you're there,
exactly,
without you even knowing.
Yeah, but it's harder for him to relate to me because he probably he fears what he don't understand. So he probably wouldn't understand a North London or an East London boy, or even know how to maybe communicate with him.
Yeah, it's because it's not linear. You need to tell him it's not
linear. But like, I think that's why some people have that judgment. So when I'm making videos now, not that I'm changing the way I speak or anything like that, sometimes as I'm growing up, you tone that down naturally.
Yeah, it just comes different, isn't it?
It comes different. So then what I've realised is, as I've got older and as I've like calmed down a little bit, I think people they tend to pay a little bit more attention. Whereas the videos that I was making and me and Smith were making in 2017 and 18, like pretty fucking aggressive. like shit.
That's what gets the engagement. Man.
Yeah, like pretty fucking aggressive. And if it did that now, it'd be like, you're bullying.
It's mad because the space has changed, that's all.
People's changed. The world's changing. It's always changing. And you gotta like consistently attempt new things.
Well, you know what's mad? Do you ever go on every morning I go on Facebook Memories, bro. Some of the things I say, bro, if my clients saw me then, I'd be shut down straight away. I'm like, what's that mean?
Yeah, well, a lot of influencers now, like their management.
They're getting really called out on like Twitter and from stuff that they've said years and years ago.
So before, like some of these people, if you're like a big influencer right now and they're releasing, I don't know, maybe a book or something, like they would go check the backlogs for sure, because people go looking. People go looking. Even at the time where, remember when Kevin Hart was going to do the...
I was going to say the exact same thing. It was the Oscars, wasn't it?
Was it the Oscars?
Yeah.
He said something about gay people.
Yeah, it was a homophobic joke, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, he's a fucking comedian.
Yeah, I mean, it's his job. You're not mocking gay people. You're mocking the idea of homophobia.
Context, isn't it? Like text doesn't always tell you how it's supposed to be said.
Twitter's not exactly the best source for like, you know.
And they asked him to apologise, and he was like, no, because he was like, that was me then, and I've grown from that, and that was a part of my journey. So he goes, I'm not going to apologise just to go on stage for.
That was that then, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But again, it's consistently changed. But you're always going to get hate, and I think if you do, I think you're doing well.
Yeah. People only start shitting on you when you're doing something right. Yeah, absolutely.
So you took Eddie Hall size shits, isn't it?
Honestly, mate, that'd be enough to knock you out.
Be buried.
Yeah.
About your heritage as well, you just touched on it briefly, but talk to us a little bit about that and about how that kind of shaped you, and you obviously talking about coming over to the UK and stuff like that, and what that was like growing up, and what influence you had from that, and where that sort of like shaped you now.
Well, I was born here, but
no, was it your parents came?
Yeah, my parents were political refugees. They were Kurdish political refugees, but Turkish passports, Kurdish background. They came in the late 80s. Then I was born in Tottenham in 1992, but that moment of time, everyone was fucking coming over, especially from that region. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the Greeks, Cypriots, Turks, Kurds, all chuck them in North London, innit? That's why all the best food is in North London. Yeah, exactly. That's where the best food is there. But from that's definitely shaped me very differently in a way where, when I moved to, especially Southwest London, or met some of the boys that I know now and that I work with, complete different culture, because. And I think that's why, to be honest, I think because of my cultural background, I think that's why I've got good emotional intelligence. I think that's why I'm a good coach, because my family, they had to thrive with personality and I guess body language and whatever, because they didn't actually have the language or the technical skills that was required to get a job. So you had to be likable, and I think it probably was just a natural way that they evolved, and I evolved in a way where I've got all those qualities with English, and the skill is coaching, personal training, or a sport, and then delivered it like that. That is definitely my culture, and my parents, obviously. Culture, yes, but then most importantly, mum and dad's and family background, because they're all. And I was chatting this with my cousins the other day. All my male cousins, I don't think any of them are employees.
They will do their own
thing. They're all self-employed. They're all self-employed.
Brown envelope ones.
Yeah, because I can't imagine anyone telling them what to do and them listening. But they'll go hustle hard to make it their own.
You know what's crazy? Not so much with my parents, because my dad was here by the time he was 2, so he speaks perfect English. But certainly with my grandparents, what you find is that at a lot younger age, you helping your parents do stuff that you would never do at that age because they couldn't speak English or read and write English. So you're doing like adult tasks because you're the translator, and you've not even left primary school yet. Yeah. So I feel like that has a big influence on your confidence when you actually do become an adult, because you've been doing it all along.
Oh, mate. And I think this is why when I was in school and in college, my my tutor at the time, I used to get along with her so well at like 16. Because I was way more mature than the other 16-year-olds, and she knew that. She picked up on it, and I think that's why she told me to be a coach. She was like, Diren, you should do personal training. She made me. She was a weightlifter. She made me go into personal training. I remember this one time, the head of the sports department, South African guy. Was he South African? No, he wasn't. He was an English guy, but he didn't like me. He didn't like me because he knew I was smart like that.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time, and I knew he didn't like me for no reason, and he used to try and pick on me, but I remember this one time I called him out, and I knew where he would go on the holidays. I said, listen, sir, if you want to call me out in front of the class, that's fine, but let's not pretend why you really go to Thailand every half term. I was like, I know why you go. I've travelled the world, so we can talk about that here in front of the students.
And when he went red,
but he was fuming. Yeah, I got kicked out of class straight away. Yeah, he was fuming.
That's brilliant.
But I picked
Walked out with your middle fingers up, mate. Honestly.
That's got to be a meme.
Boom. Yeah.
I think you should post that.
Yeah, but like even I was having a conversation with one of my other friends. He's an immigrant, and he was like, "Sorry, man, I can't come jets later today." He goes, "I'm meeting my uncle and his wife to talk about sorting their marriage out." He's in his 20s, right? And he goes, "This is why we mature at 5 fucking years old, because we're consistently dealing with this sort of shit when you're growing up.
When you're ringing O2 up to sort the phone bill out for your mum, and you're 5.
Yeah. Because if you notice, like, and I don't know, like, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like sometimes in certain cultures, people shut their emotions. They don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't say anything because they're scared of the outcome.
Yeah.
So therefore they hold back and nothing happens. Whereas if you're fighting, screaming and shouting, there's
comes
care
out.
and emotion and it comes out and you deal with it.
Yeah.
Whereas other, they just like block.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think the best coaches are always made from something that was potentially made them stand out in a negative way at school. So, for instance, I don't know, I've always sounded like, I don't sound a thing like any of my family. They joke that I'm, they joke that I'm the milkman's, but it's like I come in, I sound a bit posh, I was skinny as a rake. This is like a young age, and the thing is, you then get unwanted attention at that point in your life, and then it makes you, like, for want of a better expression, grow a personality. Because you've got to be friendly, you've got to be people's friends, you've got to make them laugh, you've got to be that guy, so that you don't become a target, basically. And I think that's what probably makes great coaches, is people that have had to do that and have had to be so personable from a young age to stop that.
There's no hiding places, especially if you're the new boy.
100%. That's why sport was like so great, right? I mean, the banter you get at football, the banter I've heard from rugby guys is way different though.
Yeah,
there is less egos in rugby.
It's a smarter banter, I think.
It's
I don't know what's basketball like, just for...
It's different. I remember I've played on teams where I've been in the only white guy in the changing room,
I can imagine.
which has been interesting. But I think it's similarly. It's more that you're probably less focused on the outside world, and you're so into the game and the culture and everything that surrounds that. It's not a whole lot.
I think it's more like football, isn't it? Because it's more black culture.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, oh, have you heard this new album? Have you seen they brought out this version of the Jordan 6s or something? And that's the discussion. The discussion is around the sport, even if it's not about the sport.
Well, I said black guy and said Jordan 6s. That's racist, man. Sorry, I just set you up there. This was live TV. Your career was
honestly
done.
I've already been cancelled. I've done a Kevin Hart, mate. I've done a Kevin Hart straight up.
But like, so there would be like same as football, those sort of cultures. Whereas compared to rugby, you might get sister jokes, but in football you won't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's different. Someone will say something about your sister, or rugby, they'll be racist. They'll be racist to you. Not racist like, all my boys make Turkish jokes at me, but you know what? It comes from love.
The cricket stuff came out recently, you know, at the professional level.
Oh yeah.
You can imagine in cultures like that, it was very racist or like homophobic or whatever.
Yeah, but I think, you know what, you get that everywhere.
Your friends aren't nice to you. You're like your close friends.
Yeah,
I've got a really close mate of mine, South African. He gets like torched for that, just being like, oh, you're gonna fucking carjack me, are you? When I go pick him up and stuff.
But you know it's real.
But you know there's absolutely zero
I'm
offense.
with all my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm nice to you, you're not my friend.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You just know, innit?
Or you're our clients.
Oh no, I banter my clients too. I was ripping into one of my clients actually the other day on Zoom. He had the headphones on, and I had like 120 people on a Zoom call, and he had the thingy headphone on.
Oh, the Madonna mic.
Yeah. Madonna mic.
Brittany.
I was like, Brent, what are you doing? You trying to sell toner to everyone, bro? What the fuck? What are you trying to sell?
You're on the Herbalife.
Yeah, but you know what? And that's like a form of love to them, and that's like and then that opens them up to listening to you from like a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, probably no one speaks to them like that at work.
No, probably not. Definitely no PTs.
That's why we get venting though. Like all of my clients come in, they're stressed from their work. They feel like they can actually be real with us, which is really refreshing. So they're actually having a proper discussion and saying, oh, this has been going on. This has been stressing me out. Fucking Sandra in accounting, what a slag.
I get some people. I get like a guy comes in and bitches to me about his wife, and then next thing his wife comes in.
Oh yeah. When you train couples, that's the best, honestly.
Life coach.
I think, and it's mad. I think sometimes a lot of coaches, what they need to realize is like the session is about the other person, so
it's not about you.
Stop talking.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And just listen.
100%.
And when you listen, it's mad how much more they respect.
People open up to. I say to a few clients, it's like Hot Ones. Have you seen that? It's like when people exercise, they open themselves up to like letting things slip and go, because they're almost like in a state of delirium. Where they're not like focusing on what it is they're saying to you, and they're just like letting all this stuff out, and that gives you that personal connection with them if you're actually listening. Because then you bring it up the next session.
Yeah.
This is why jiu-jitsu is fucking amazing, because you're getting beat up.
Yeah.
You're at your most vulnerable state.
Yeah.
Which is why jiu-jitsu people, you see each other on the street, you're like, what's going on, bro? You know, it's like, it's a different sort of love.
We saw them all at your show. They were up in the corner and they were loving it. You could see them, all their expressions, everything.
Because they're like, I know, how well do you know Diren? Well, we fucking choke each other out.
Yeah.
And we sweat on each other's mouths.
During COVID.
And then we also do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That was good. Yeah. So it's like, you build that relationship through that, and that's why it's so good, I guess. It's fun.
I rate that. You talking about jiu-jitsu? Let's get into a little game. Nat, do you wanna do it this week?
What's that?
Let's get ready to
rumble. Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble.
a little thing we do each week there. So I'm just going to assign us like a random topic.
Yeah.
You've got to argue why your one is better than everyone else's in the group. So
yours is Herbalife.
So we've done things like so the topics are Nat. You're back in capoeira, which is I think Brazilian dance fighting. Andy, you're back in boxing. I am back in Krav Maga, and obviously Diren's back in BJJ.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't even.
She doesn't even work out.
I don't know what that is.
Do your research, love.
It's dance fighting. I sent you the brief, Nat. This is why the brief goes out.
That's always blurred out.
It's not this week.
This week is not.
Yeah, come on.
You know she didn't
look.
So what form of capoeira do you like? Or do?
Tell me why it's better. Yeah, tell me why it's better.
Breakdancing.
Nah, mate. I think
Ballet?
No, Krav Maga's is Israeli Special Forces. So if I want to kill all three of you, like it's over. It's over. I saw that video you did with James and Paul. Was it the one like on the street? If you try fighting someone that does jiu-jitsu, you don't put the mouth guard in, put the mat down.
Yeah.
Oh mate, honestly, like what's that doing?
What
in
jiu-jitsu
in a scrap? In a scrap?
Oh,
mate.
jiu-jitsu
come
in
on
a
now.
scrap.
Yeah,
oh man,
come on now.
If you think, okay, there was I think it was one of the legends of the Gracie family. He said something about, he was speaking about like lions and like sharks or something like that, and he said like strikers are like lions, you know, they're animals, they're fighters, they're beasts and blah blah blah. But, you know, jiu-jitsu is like, you're a shark, bruv. So a lion is just in the water, it's just another meal. Whereas I need to get that quote properly, but I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
It's a sick quote. It's a sick quote. Go. I didn't peek. But if you think about jiu-jitsu, or if you think about street fighting or anything like that, or any form of self-defense, is a lot of street fights end up on the floor.
Yeah.
And if they end up on the floor, and if you know how to control someone, literally smother someone, and trap every limb, every joint, someone that's never done jiu-jitsu, even compared to someone that's even had like a few months of jiu-jitsu, they've got no chance.
It's over.
They're dead.
It's over.
It reminds me, a mate of mine, there were two people scrapping, literally almost right outside Surrey police station, and my mate ended up having to sit on this guy, like knees on arms, to get him to stay still. Exactly. I'm just like, mate, if he knew jiu-jitsu, he's like,
oh mate, jiu-jitsu
it's over.
It's over. And I remember, so Smith had Fiona Davis, who's a BJJ fighter, and they were talking about like women's self-defense, and she just straight up said, why would you teach self-defense to women when you can teach them how to fight? You know what I mean? I was like,
why would you defend yourself when you can attack is the best form of defense?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's sick.
Are you back in boxing, Andy?
I am, bruv, because at the end of the day, fucking Rocky Balboa, bruv, he's the Don. Italian stallion, that's it. He even killed Drago, bruv. You hear me?
again, mate, you're making references to a 12-year-old who would have obviously never seen Rocky. So
have you not seen Rocky?
No, of course I've seen Rocky.
I was going to say, if you haven't seen Rocky, where have you got your motivation from?
Honestly, yeah, every single workout.
I'll just end you all on the dance floor.
That's true. Yeah. Honestly, if it was
I just Google mine. I don't even know what it is.
If it was in an arcade with one of those little what's the steppy machines, like we're done. Yeah, exactly.
I'll just knock you out.
Give it a Google.
One bang, innit? Done.
No, mate. I see a wall. I use this little mic stand here. Bang. It's game over. Israeli style.
We were having this conversation like Bali last time. The jiu-jitsu guys were having it with like the strikers.
Oh yeah.
And the striking coach was like, he was a Kiwi guy, and he was like, "Yeah, bro, you come for those double legs, you're gonna catch some hands before you get to me, bro." But because those guys are quick. Man.
Yeah.
Quick. Like you can be tiny, and if you're a good striker and you connect at the right place, gone.
Done.
Sweet spot. Hit that chin.
I'm not sure who won, but in honour of you winning your silver in your first comp, Diren, I'll say it was you.
Gold at the next comp, though.
I was saying silver in his first ever comp. I think that I don't know which one are you more gassed about, Diren?
To be honest, I'm more gassed at the fact that I'm fighting heavier guys and beating them.
Yeah, he went up a category.
Yeah,
it was mad.
Yeah. No,
basically, he was like, I need to dial down, and then he was like, I ain't fucking dialing down. I'm going up a category.
I wanted the normal croissant for breakfast. I didn't want to think about it. I was just like, I'm just going to rock up and...
Nat said the same thing the other day. She was like, I ain't going down a category, I'm going up a category. Fuck dieting.
There's my inspiration.
Because don't you reckon like the stress of like thinking about that?
I know, and I've got my birthday coming up, and I want to get in. Oh wow, I've actually entered into another category, and I'm thinking
that's going up a category. Be small.
Do it. But I mean, I saw just on your Instagram a little while ago, Diren. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but what was it like training with Mauricio Gomes?
Mauricio Gomez.
Mauricio Gomez.
Yeah,
that's I balls that up, didn't I? But what kind of sets apart an expert like this in BJJ, aside from like your everyday guy that does it, or maybe he's even been doing it for a couple years, or something like that? What can you take from a guy like that?
Let's compare it to say a sport like football. His son is the Ronaldo of jiu-jitsu. He's the all-time greatest. His son is the all-time greatest, and that's his dad, who has been training a lot longer than him.
Yeah,
who taught him a lot. Yeah, who married into the Gracie family and learned jiu-jitsu from Roger's granddad, who's one of the original guys that come from Brazilian jiu-jitsu. The Gracie family. The Gracie family are known to be fighters anyway. Yeah. So these are the sort of guys back in the favela and all that, were the guys that would go into other gyms, fight people to prove jiu-jitsu is better. Which is mad. So even when they moved to London, and he was actually telling me, he's actually going to come on my podcast as well. When he first came into the UK, he told me that there was only like one black belt in jiu-jitsu. So people would come to his first gym that he opened up and be like, I heard you can spar here. So you'd get, he's saying, I remember I had a 6'6" security guard from Birmingham, 150 kilo guy come in to spar, and he's 85, 90 kilos. And he's like, have you got a gi? Just bang him up, bruv. But then he was like, you get the ultimate respect from these people, and you just build a mad connection. That's why I like jiu-jitsu is so great. But he is, again, they're all coaches, right?
Yeah.
And they've all lived. So the way they coach you, the way they talk to you, and the way like they get your respect, and even if you didn't get their respect, they'll get your respect by beating you up. There's no other way.
Invoice you.
You don't listen. Yeah, exactly. You don't listen to me, not a problem. Well, I'm just proving to you I'm way better than you. Because with coaching, it's hard to do that. Jiu-jitsu, if you're getting banged up by someone,
you get banged up.
You're getting banged up.
But then it's like there's some sports, for football, for example, you don't necessarily need to be that good, but you can hide it. You can put a front on and have a decent game.
Always.
I guess on the mats, they know where your weakness is. They're going for it. You can't hide. There's no hiding.
It's one-on-one.
That's why I like strength training, because it's like you can't just turn up to a barbell and stick the weight on and do it. Depends where you're at, but it's like it depends. Like there has to be a story behind how you got to that number. You can't just turn up and put it on your back. You can't pretend.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's interesting, proving that you know your stuff, like in terms of BJJ versus coaching, like, you know, because obviously, you know, you've not got Janice who's like, you know, maybe pushing some fives. You're not going to slap on 100 kilos and rep it out in front of her and be like, why aren't you doing that?
Well, I think that's like the best form of not proving, but like kind of proving to people that, oh yeah, I can show you because I've done it.
Yeah, I was going to say, in coaching, like, you don't do it like that, but you are your business card. So people watch you and they gravitate towards you because you're good at what you do. And so if it's weightlifting, if it's jiu-jitsu, if it's basketball, people that have an interest in that, if you're doing well in it, they're going to ask you questions on how you've done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, the only reason I went to Andy for help years ago when I was PTing in Oxford Circus was I saw him and Stephen do their thing on the gym floor when I was 17. So I was like, oh, I've seen them do it. I've seen them do their S&C PI. What was it? It was a Polyquin thing.
It was a BICP at the time.
It was a Polyquin thing at the time. And I'm like, oh, I would love to learn all that stuff. So why bother doing a course when I can just do one-on-ones with him and just learn from him? You know, because I saw him do that. And it's the same now with, like, you get business coaches these days going, I'm a business coach.
Yeah, and then they've got no
business. What do you mean, bruv? You've got no P's, bruv.
They even run a business.
You're telling me you run a big business. You're still taking the bus. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, man.
Like, not that there's anything wrong with taking the bus.
No, but yeah, you know, I know what you're saying.
But don't tell me you're running a big business and you want to sell me something when you're still using headphones with wires, bro. Someone I know in Bali was like a business coach, and I ban her all the time, right? I give her shit all the time. Like, I know her well, so. And I was like, yo, listen, don't try and send me, or don't try and tell your audience you're a business coach when you're holding up some £2 wire microphone like this. I'm like, why would I give you my money? Why would I give you? It's like going to a barber and them having a shit haircut. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why would you?
I mean, while you're on that though, that just is an interesting one. As a PT, then, if I'm a little bit chunky, or you know, I've got a little bit of extra soft belly, then are you going to listen to me? Because, like, you know, there's
You're talking about me, but just say it with chest, innit?
Mate. Cool. No. I'm just saying in general. Like, I could be talking about Andy. But I'm saying versus, like, you know, that mate boy down the road who's got like a 12-pack. Yeah. Does that make him a better coach than you? The answer is no. Yeah. But then obviously there's that perception I think that a lot of people have of, the biggest trainer there is, he must be the best trainer there is.
I think with that is, I think when you look at someone, whether they have body fat or not, you can usually tell if they're fit or not.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And even if, say, someone's got a bit of soft belly, their structure, like, right, he's got a posterior chain. He must. He must
push the numbers.
He must. You know, it must be all that linear training. Isn't it?
I think at the end of the day, it comes down to how many results you produce and what they look like.
There you go,
Because if I'm 200 kilos with my gut hanging over my waistline, but I'm spitting out transformations every week, no one's going to give a fuck. Yeah. It only matters when you've got no results.
Yeah, but maybe back at one time, maybe they did have like that initially physique, or they did.
You needed something at that time, and I still think you should, you know, be in shape.
Oh yeah. I think you can't be out of shape.
Because I think if you love training,
there's a level. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to practice what you preach to an extent. I think absolutely.
Yeah,
I definitely think so. I think I don't know, when I first got into PT, I remember bikini comps were the thing.
Oh,
I feel like that they're not really anymore.
Because honestly, people seem past
you're welcome.
Thank God for that.
Well,
my man killed it.
No, and I remember going into the gym and it was like definitely all the girls, they all had for their DP like
WBFF.
Yeah, and I was thinking, fashion. How am I gonna, if I want to be a successful PT? How am I going to do that?
I wanted to do one for banter and put on a lot of body fat and then go on stage.
Well, that's what I feel like needs to be done. I'll be right behind you, Diren.
So I'll come on with my belly hanging out and they'll be like, what the fuck?
Why don't we all do it?
So.
But then, so then I was thinking, how am I going to, because obviously I need to get clients and obviously I need to look lean for that.
Yeah.
Luckily I never... The only bikini I wear is on the beach.
I remember I was training in a gym. I was off seeing a friend somewhere, and I was just banging out my workout, and then I just saw this woman randomly sat up next to me, opened like this little bag and took out like a pair of glass heels. And then she literally spent about 20 minutes strutting up and down next to me while I'm doing my sets. And
that's probably the hardest bit though for them.
It's walking. Yeah, honestly.
And if you notice as well, and maybe a lot of bodybuilders, I think the people that are naturally got good physiques, it's way easier for them to do bodybuilding because I don't think they have to stress as much when like cutting, putting on weight, all of that stuff, because you know when you got abs, you're just banging weights, putting on muscle, whatever. But if you're a female that's not genetically, I think, lean-ish side, then you're looking at a lot of trouble going into bodybuilding, which happens very often, and they fuck up their cycle and all that stuff. But the worst bit is, not the worst bit, I think most people that go into bodybuilding are actually taking the focus off their real problems in their life and putting it into that one specific thing that thinks they're gonna solve their actual issue. Which is why most of them are fucked.
Usually
I just think it's like a glorified anorexia.
Yeah.
Like you can't do
it's
that.
Not a sport, in my opinion.
And then
that's
to
why girls
walk
lose
in
their
front.
period.
Yeah, and then to walk in front of on a stage and like a load of grumpy 50-year-old men judge you on that. Sorry, love, you didn't win.
The UKSCA, which is basically the Strength and Conditioning Association in the UK, they don't classify bodybuilding as a sport. And when I first went in, I had no results as like an S&C coach. I was like, yeah, but loads of transformations. They all just laughed at me. They were like, what the fuck? That ain't sport.
I went to one of the shows. A girl I was dating was doing it for a bit when I first met her, right? And I went to one of these shows. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go check out this show, right? And I went there, and I was watching these lot, and I was going. First thing I thought was like, why the fuck am I here, bruv? Why am I here? That's the first thing I thought. The second thing I thought, and the second thing I actually told some of the people there, and they looked at me like I was a fucking idiot, is I said, you know what's mad? Most of these guys are fucking perverts. All these photographers here taking these photos of you lot, making you bend forward and backwards. They're at home having a fucking wank with your photos, and you don't even fucking know.
You know, there's been stories. There's been a few stories of, I'm not going to name names, but famous, in that industry, famous photographers. And they've like
I know
had
what you're
women.
Talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. They have them in their like places like this, and they're like taking photos of them, and they're like molesting them, or they're like perving over them, and it's like raw.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I remember this. I'm thinking, bruv, this guy is some 55-year-old weirdo. And I know he's a weirdo from the way he from his trainers. From his trainers.
What trainers tell you someone's
bruv, it was like
wrong?
Merrill's or something.
Merrill, Vibrams, isn't it? 5 fingers. You know what them fingers are for, blood?
It was like in this warehouse, and they're all doing the same fucking pose. I'm like, this guy's not creative. He's not being creative. He's doing this to get these photos of you, and he's probably selling to some brother in Saudi Arabia. You don't even know. I swear to God. And people thought I was like, Diren, you're so over the top. I said, no, you're just fucking stupid.
But then the people, well, I won't say everyone, but a lot of girls, especially doing those shows, will be insecure. So I think. Like men will just jump on that.
It's mad though, because like I've worked with some that channel it in the right way, and it's awesome as well. It's just because there's no like finite, you know, if you sprint quicker than you did yesterday, we know definite that you're quicker than yesterday. There's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
Because it isn't in this sport. It's like your perception in the mirror changes based on your emotional state that day.
Yes.
And that's where the difficulty lies.
Yeah. But and if you look at like bodybuilders, the OGs I think are the old school ones. The ones that hide their bodies when they train. I think they're doing it because they love it.
Yeah.
I think majority of the people that do it now are doing it for likes.
And the
but it's all aesthetic.
The other mad thing.
They don't care how you
It's got less aesthetic though. Honestly, like you look at some bodybuilders in the 80s and 90s, and they're doing it. The whole idea was to get as good looking as possible. Whereas now it's like, how big can I get? How veiny can I get?
Yeah, but it's still how they look.
Yeah,
it's still just based on how you look.
The mad thing is the fat loss phase is the easy bit, mentality wise, because like each week you turn up, it's a bit leaner, I can see a line, and like you're on it. The like recomp phase when you're trying to grow, such a subtle change, and you've got to stay motivated to do it, that they never actually commit to doing that. They're always on a fat loss phase, and it's like, you're not a bodybuilder, you're always on a fucking fat loss phase.
And then what happens is, because they don't put on enough muscle, they don't have that solid base, they drop body fat, and then when they try going back to it, they don't. They think losing fat is the way to solve the problem. Then they look at those pictures and look at their normal state, and now they're like skinny fat, whatever you want to call it, I guess. And then they get depressed and look at the photos that they were doing.
It's glorified yo-yo dieting. It's glorified yo-yo.
And then they become a PT.
And then they give it to their clients. This is the merry-go-round.
Oh, mate.
That PDF, innit? That straight PDF.
Welcome to the health and fitness industry.
Yeah, mad things.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like we always say something depressing
Just
every
go up a
episode.
category,
You always say that now.
Go up a category. Moral of the story.
Always move up.
Maintenance, innit? Maintenance
But if
calories.
you want to
bro.
actually train, just hit up on the muscle.
Talking about insecurities and stuff, and just challenging mental stuff you can have. How important is it that you surround yourself with a good social network, and like, who are the people you'd say in your life that are like most important to like keep you level, keep you linear, and just make sure that you've got that right mentality. You know, you're not floating off. You know, they keep you grounded.
If I'm being honest, I don't think I'll ever, and I think that's only because my mum and dad, I think, raised me really well. To keep me, and I saw them. Like, I remember my mum just having £5 in her pocket. I remember all of that. I remember all those struggles, and I remember all of that being in like North London, East London. I saw all of that, and I think doing what I'm doing now and the stuff that I can do now, like, I appreciate those luxuries so much that it's hard for me to even go to that level, because one, I guess, the people. Let me cut this short. My mum and dad they've kept me grounded from early on, that I don't think I've even got to that phase where I can just take off like that. So it's them, my parents, my family. My friends as well, banter-wise, for example, I unfollowed everyone on Instagram the other day, right? Yeah. Absolutely everyone. I didn't want to see anyone on my feed. It's fucking unbelievable. It's so nice.
It does bad things to your mind, absolutely, yeah.
So all my close friends were giving me shit, bantering me, going, you think you're fucking Kanye West? Or like Alima and that. He's like...
Diren East, innit?
Diren Yay. But like, give me banter. And that's another level of grounding that you're consistently getting. Yeah. But I think from the upbringing, I think if you're raised properly, then I don't think you'll ever have that trouble of kind of shooting away. Keep in mind, I still to this day haven't really done anything fucking amazing, other than the fact I've got 200,000 followers.
Mad.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think it comes down to the fact that when your mum and dad had £5 in their purse, that was still split and gave to you. Yes. They had fuck all, but they still gave you £2.50 out of that.
Yes.
And it's like, that's the grounding. It's like, even when you got 250,000 followers or 250k in your bank, you're still going to split it.
Yeah,
it keeps you grounded because it's all about giving.
Yeah, 100%. I think like giving for me is like, I love it, man. I think it makes me happy. You know, I'm not gonna lie. When people like, oh, you do it to help people. No, it makes me fucking feel good. That's why I do it. It helps people, but it makes me feel good. So that's why I like, you know, and I think there's like a sense of
give to receive, innit?
Like, yeah, but it's not even for that. I think, I don't know, as a man, I kind of like to provide, bruv. I want to be able to provide for all my close family, friends, whatever. And I've kind of been raised around that as well. So it feels like a natural kind of thing to me. Maybe it's a very Turkish thing, I don't know. But I remember,
you lot just steal, bruv. You don't give anything.
Coming from the Greek, innit? That's why I was like confused when I would chat to some people and like they're sitting there at a meal with their family and they're splitting the bill, and I was like, what the fuck are you lot doing, bro? No, I was like, let me pay for it because this is embarrassing.
And the calculators come out, it's like, I had one Coke.
Oh,
bro,
no,
just give it up, done.
I can't deal with any of that.
I had 2 Cokes.
I've got some friends like that.
Like, fuck's sake, man. That's like about 50p.
That's like when we always buy the coffees for Max.
We? Hold on. We, you know.
Hang on. Whose discount got that? Whose discount got that?
You know.
It's that clout I've got in Guildford, mate. Honestly, that's the reason you pay £1 a coffee in Guildford, and it's your boy.
Hear that? Red Cup Costa every time. What kind of Costa cups at
come on now. Nah. I bought these guys coffee. I've got an espresso machine and stuff at home, but I don't have any keep cups, so I bought them in like random biscuit tins.
Sitting there drinking that.
It's a giant biscuit tin.
Killing it. It was looking exactly. The coffee's good. That's all that counts, isn't it?
Is it coffee corn yet?
What?
Is it coffee corn yet?
Nah, not yet. I've just got a few bits to chat about. I was actually going to drop you in it because when we had Big Ali on. Big. I'll use inverted
That's just his Instagram name.
I'll use inverted commas for the YouTube on this. But he asked Andy if he's better at football than you, and Andy said, "You already know."
Oh, if Ali's better than me?
No. Ali asked if Andy's better than you, and Andy was like,
I actually don't know.
But I'm still playing. What are you doing?
I don't know. You know.
I don't know. I don't actually play. I've never actually played with you.
We played a few times at
training,
in North London.
Yeah.
With Stephen and that a few times. But there's no doubt that I'm 100% better.
Yeah. Let him have that. I've got a game
Max, have you ever watched Andy play football?
I have, yeah.
I'm there for fight. And
honestly, yeah.
And he's like this with his traps.
He doesn't even move. He like stands in the corner and shouts and is so aggressive. Yeah.
Someone's got to do it, innit? Someone's got to do it. Bro, have you seen his dad on the sidelines, bro?
Oh, man.
You talk about his upbringing, bro. Your dad knows everyone in Turkish football, bro. He is the fucking chairman.
How's your training going with Andy at the moment as well, Diren?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's not on.
You
and
don't
off.
have to say it's good, by the way.
No.
I know you're on the podcast now.
Andy's training's the best. There's two people I go to when it comes to like training principles. Is Andy and my guy Graham Morris in Australia. Both like comes from like performance background. Both are very good coaches because they understand people, and I learn from them because they communicate well with me and they get me. You know, so. In that sense, it's great because anytime I have a question or if I doubt something, I'm like, let me ask Andy, or if it's nutrition, I'll ask maybe someone else. Let me ask Andy to make sure I don't sound like a dickhead, just to be sure, to be sure. And it's nice to have that, you know.
Yeah.
And he knows it comes from a place of, it's not like I'm trying to take what I've got from him and. Do it to my mass.
It's a place of high development.
I've always been like that. It's like, exactly.
It's a pyramid scheme, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're at the bottom of the pyramid.
I'm at the bottom of the pyramid, blood.
But like,
where's that put me, mate?
But the training wise, it's hard because at the moment when I'm doing so much jiu-jitsu, mate, you're consistently sore. You're so sore like all the time. It's hard to bang weight.
What shall I do for jiu-jitsu? I'm like, go jiu-jitsu. That's your plan.
That's always the way. If you want to get better at sport, do the sport.
Just keep doing it.
Flat out, yeah, exactly.
But what I've realised with jits is though I see a lot of black belts and injuries keep popping up. So need to keep banging that resistance training. We should minimise.
I reckon a lot of them just overtrain rather than they don't. It's too much. They don't understand when to scale back.
Overtraining, under recovering.
They don't measure anything. It's
not overtraining. They're just under recovering.
Fatigue,
innit? It's too linear, bro. They need a little bit more like undulated.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about training, let's go bang it out. We're going to do a session now. But thank you guys all so much for listening to this episode of the pod. Plugs, Diren. Anything you want to shout out to the people?
Yeah, guys, if you're listening, More Than Muscle is a sick business.
Hey, my guy.
Andy's a great trainer, and these two lovely people. We've got Nat and Max, are great trainers. Max to be a great trainer.
Why said it for man, blood?
No, but it's nice. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. It was fun. It was fun chatting to you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Where do I send the invoice for this?
Andy.
Send it to Tom.
I'll stick it in the junk.
Give me that chicken, innit?
Tofu things. Diren loves it.
Tofu things. I'll wash the dishes with that.
Oh, innit?
That's like the sponge, innit?
That's like the sponge. Find that on the side of my bath.
That was good weight on that. That was fun.